Hi everyone, it's Phil here from Ashland Leather. Happy Monday, and I'm gonna make your Monday a little bit more happy. We're doing a special pre-order sale on this tall Tony the Ant here. And take a look at the backside here. This is the big difference. The bill slot on the exterior goes all the way to the top. Unlike on our standard Tony the Ant, we have this little thumb notch here. And the reason we started doing the tall Tony variant was because we had some international customers, and our customers using the yen and euro wanted their notes to be fully covered. You can see here, this Tony the Ant was designed to fit US dollars, but the yens and euro and some euro notes are a little bit taller, so they stick out a couple millimeters from this thumb notch. And as a fun, unintended sort of side effect of this wallet design is we're able to flip this middle piece of leather backwards, and it gives us an opportunity to get a really clean looking interior on the inside of this tall Tony. So here's how it looks loaded up. The larger slots underneath, you can actually fit US dollars folded in half, but take a look here, just how clean this look is. I love the continuous color and leather texture throughout the center, and I have 6 different leather and color options. Let's take a look at all 6 of them, and we're going to start off with probably the most vibrant color of leather that we have ever offered. This is a leather called Teal Latigo from Horween. Check out this really nice light blue, sort of baby blue color. And this is a leather that's going to develop a really nice patina. So it does start off really bright, really vivid and blue. But when this gets worn, it becomes much darker and a little bit more beat up. Sort of looks like a pair of old jeans after a little bit of time. But take a look at the inside. I just love this clean look. The additional thing to note about this specific wallet here is we're using extra thin horsehides. I tend to like thinner wallets, just generally speaking. And here's another horsehide piece, although this is a color that we've never offered before today. This is also a horsehide latigo, but this color is called stone. We've also called it taupe before, but this is about as gray of a color that Horween can make on any of their leathers. And you might ask, why is it so hard to get a gray color? There's something unique about the gray when you combine it with a lot of waxes and oils. It does not appear gray at all. So they all tend to be a little bit more earth toned, kind of like this stone latigo here. So again, this is made from the horsehide leather, and it's a little bit thinner than our standard steer hide, but I think it works just about perfectly for this wallet. This is the same one that I was just showing you before that was fully loaded up. You can put about 4 cards in each of these slots. I like to use 3 in each. And then of course the bill slot on the outside, you can put a ton of cash. There's sort of a zero-sum game between how many cards you put in each slot and the cash. If you have a lot of cash, it will be a little harder to access your cards. And if you have a lot of cards, it will stretch out the wallet and make it a little bit more difficult to access the cash in the back. And here's another tall Tony. I'm really excited about this one. And people that have watched these videos know how much of a fan I am of the English Tan Dublin, and just check out how beautiful this piece is. There's something magical about this tall Tony design. It just has a sleekness to it of how clean it is on the exterior as well as on the interior. And I just love that orangey tan color in the English Tan Dublin, but you can also get all this character, all these little bits of natural figuring of texture. And if you look very closely here, you can see this fine detail. That's the grain of the leather. And I find the grain texture on the Dublin leather from Horween to be really, really satisfying. And I also have 3 different shell Cordovan options. I'm really happy with how this one turned out. This is a black shell Cordovan, but we flipped it reverse for every part of this wallet. We call this an all reverse black shell Cordovan. So you get all these random dye marks like you can see on the exterior of this wallet, as well as an opportunity to include the Horween ink stamp like we have on the outside bottom right here. And on the inside, check out these dye marks. Just the randomization and character in this is extra special. Each of these pieces in the reverse shells are completely unique. You're never going to find 2 alike. And one more thing I should note is our team does a really nice job hand waxing and burnishing all of the edges of the wallets that we do. So all the edges on the shell stuff kind of look like a stained piece of wood. And here's another shell Cordovan tall Tony. This is the classic color 8. Super clean look on the outside. And just take a look at that nice shine of the shell. This is what you want to see in a piece of shell Cordovan, this sort of mirror-like shine. And it should feel totally smooth. You should not feel any friction at all. It should feel like a piece of glass and look like a piece of glass also. Take a look at the inside. I love this clean look. We don't tend to see these on any of our other wallets. And again, that's because this one piece of leather here, we're not showing on the outside. So we're able to flip it to see the shell side on the interior. And last but not least, this is a remarkable piece of natural shell Cordovan on that tall Tony. We're able to offer a pre-order for a couple of these, although all of them are a little bit limited, especially in the natural shell. We just don't have enough of this leather to go around. But man, take a look at how nice the luster is on this piece of shell. Sometimes I like to just sit here, rock it back and forth, and admire how the light reflects off of it. And on the inside, take a look here. More natural shell Cordovan. And it's really interesting to observe the color shift that you see happening here. And you might see the color change. It starts to get a little bit lighter at this angle. If you look at the center, and as I tilt it here, it's much darker. What you're seeing there is the directionality of the shell. There's actually little microscopic fibers in the shell that point in one direction, the same way that a suede has a directionality to it. It's sort of like a nap on a suede, where you brush it down one way, it gets light, and you brush it the other way, it gets a little dark. That's what you're seeing on the inside of this wallet. So we've got natural shell Cordovan, color 8 shell Cordovan, black reverse shell Cordovan, the Stone, which is a brand new offering, the Teal Latigo, and of course English Tan Dublin, available for pre-order. If you're into one of these, you can find them on the flash sale page. Okay, let's slide in the boat here. We've got a bunch of stuff that is shipping out today, and there's so many special pieces in here. Let's start off with the Tony the Ant. I thought it'd be appropriate after looking at those tall Tonys from a moment ago. This is that classic color 8 shell Cordovan. It's like an oxblood dark brown burgundy shade. Take a look at the inside. Nice Horween ink stamp they were able to cut in the center. Here's another piece of color 8, but it's obviously different. This is actually the all reverse color 8 shell Cordovan. And I like the reverse shell Cordovan for a couple of reasons. It ages really well, develops a great patina on the reverse side of the shell, but you also get these random dye marks, an opportunity to look at a little bit more context of the Horween ink stamp. And also on the insides of wallets, I really prefer at least one piece to be reverse. I like how the reverse shells wear in on the interiors of wallets. And that's because the shells, if you have shell on shell, they won't actually scratch themselves. So I at least like to flip one side around, and I distracted myself here, and take a look at all the random colors on the color 8 reverse. This is a really good representation of how far the color ranges on the reverse 8 shell Cordovan. It can be a little bit light and tan, like this piece here. Sometimes a little bit darker, a little bit more burgundy. And here's one of our small batch Bugs Moran. This is the color number 4 shell Cordovan Bugs Moran. I just love the color 4 shell. For about 10 years, this was my favorite shell Cordovan color. And let's get a little comparison here between the color 4 and here's a color 8 shell Cordovan Fat Herbie. You can see the color 4 is a little bit more of like a medium brown with reddish undertones, and the color 8 shell is much darker, obviously more of a burgundy, a little bit more purpley sort of red undertones to it. And let's take a look at this Herbie. Really beautiful shell on the outside of this piece. We talk about the glassy mirror-like shine. You can see my reflection of my finger on the left side there. It's really bright and shiny. And on the inside, more color 8 shell Cordovans. And looks like I have 3 Capone money clips to show you. This first one is an English Tan Dublin. I'm obsessed with the English Tan Dublin. I love the color and the character of this leather. Take a look at the inside here. Lots of nice figuring on the right side here. The sort of spiderweb look I call quilting. Here's another Capone, the natural Chrome Excel. This is the most popular Chrome Excel color right now. And if you're trying to buy Chrome Excel, it's actually really difficult to get any leather from Horween right now. They actually have quite a bit of a backlog, and that's because COVID has sort of thrown them a wrench. If you're trying to order any leather from them right now, you're looking at several months before you can get it. Take a look here, another hard to get leather. Speaking of hard to get, this is marbled black shell Cordovan, one of the more rare shell Cordovan colors. It has a range of color from sort of an orangey tan right here down to a little bit darker, more forest green shade. And take a look at the inside here. Man, lots of nice contrast of color on the interior of this one. These orangey colors going right to green. I like this dramatic context very much. And I think I'm a little bit of a minority opinion here. I like a dramatic shift and color range like this where it's right next to each other. I think a lot more people like a little bit more of a subtle color variant. And here's a one-shot card case, and I really like the leather on this one. I think this is the last one that we have. This is actually pit tanned Chrome Excel from Horween, and this is made from a horsehide strip, so it's a little bit more dense. It has a lot more of like a dense veg feel to it because it's been pit tanned, as opposed to the normal Chrome Excel, which is not pit tanned. It just has a little bit more bite to it, and this one is in the color 8. Here's another one of our special small batch wallets, again in that beautiful piece of color 4. Check that out. really remarkable medium brown shade with these nice sort of caramely red undertones. That is really neat. And what I like about this specific Herbie is the double reverse variant. And what double reverse means is we have shell Cordovan and reverse shell Cordovan on the outside, as well as shell Cordovan and reverse shell Cordovan on the inside. I think it's just a really unique look. And the other thing that lets us do is to flip these card holders around. You get to see all the random die marks and of course the Horween ink stamp. I'm going to skip ahead to this Herbie here. This is another one with a reverse interior, but this is the black reverse, and you can see the black reverse is obviously not black. It's very much green. This one's pretty rare. We have two ink stamps right next to each other, which is kind of hard to get, and it's kind of rare to see. On the outside of this guy, black shell Cordovan with a reverse interior. If you flip this piece around, you would get the double reverse. That's how we came up with that name. And here's our best-selling wallet. This is the Johnny the Fox, again in English tan Dublin. Beautiful color, really great grain character. On the inside, we use special thin horse hides, and they're naturally thin. We don't like to split down or thin down any of the leather because it really reduces the strength of the leather, and we're trying to make you a wallet that's going to last you for the rest of your life. Here's a really clean looking Bugs Moran in natural shell Cordovan. This is about as light as it gets. The only lighter shell color that I've seen is the raw natural, which is just the same leather as this, just not polished and glazed. Here's another Tony the Ant in a beautiful piece of English tan Dublin. I know we're talking about the tall Tony today, but I still like the thumb notch in the regular Tony the Ant. They're just a little bit different. There's something clean about that tall Tony look where it extends to the top, but I also like this sort of aesthetic, the sort of fat Herbie aesthetic that we started with doing a bill slot on the outside. I don't think anybody was really doing bill slots on the exterior of wallets before us. Take a look here. English tan Dublin on the left and the right, and actually in the center here, this is the reverse side of the leather. We call it the suede side or the flesh side. And on the Dublin, we actually finish all this in with a nice resin coat and sort of smooth it out. It gives it a little cleaner look. And here's another one of our most popular wallets. This is also a Dublin leather wallet, but this is the black Dublin. And take a look at the grain character of the Dublin. All these little bits of figuring and texture in the leather. You don't see this in many black leathers. And that's because most black leathers you find are really heavily finished and really heavily pigmented. The black Dublin from Horween is just a really nice natural look. It almost looks gray at some angles, but it's definitely a black shade. Let's take a look at the inside. We have special thin horse hides on the inside of this one. This is actually the same horse hide that we were using on the tall Tonys earlier in the stone and teal color. It's the same thickness leather that we're using on those two Tonys that we use on the inside of our Johnny the Foxes. And when we're talking about leather thickness, on the horse hides, we're lucky to get about 2.5 ounces as the thinnest horse hide we can get. We try to get them around 3 ounces, and that's what you see on the inside of this 100% English tan Dublin Fox. And to give you a sense of perspective here, the leather we use on the outside, we're trying to use about 4-ounce thick leather for most of our wallets, but when we have so many layers of leather, like on the Johnny the Fox, all these little card slots here, it's best to make it as thin as possible and get some naturally thin horse hides because, again, we don't want to thin down and compromise the strength of any of these pieces. And the last wallet to show you today. This is a beautiful piece of natural shell Cordovan. I'm sort of turning it around just to look at how the color is shifting. Man, that is really nice. This is our Frankie Enforcer. It's a minimalist card holder where you have 2 card slots in the front. We have a large opening in the center, and this is designed to hold cash in the center here. And then there's 1 card slot on the back. So this is a really great minimalist front pocket wallet to end the day. Again, happy Monday. Thanks for checking out the video. Go have a look at the tall Tonys on the flash sale page. Thank you guys so much for supporting us. And until next time, I hope you have a good one.